Hi, it's Taz in the kitchen. I'm looking at my flyaway hair. Isn't it just wonderful? You'd think that there was a real breeze in my kitchen, but there isn't. I just turned on this eye, so I feel the heat from the eye though. Today, I'm going to show you how I made my succulent, Juicy Lucy meatballs. They're a treat. I made them yesterday and I was like, oh my God, they're really good. Hi, Tony, Aggie 94. I'm assuming that's Aggie Pride when we say Aggie. Hi, Wayne Love. Thanks for joining me. So, what I've done, I've got some meatballs in the oven already, but I'm going to show you how I put them together. So, I'm going to slide over here and put my skillet back on the eye. And, always the way it is. I always leave something out. And guess what I left in the fridge? The cheese. So I got to scoot over to the fridge to get the cheese. And the reason why my cheese was in the fridge is because it's going to go in the meatballs. So I've grabbed my cheese and I have some habanero cheese sticks that I have cut into pieces. And so I was keeping them cool in the fridge. Okay. Now what I've done is, and I'll be posting the recipe, but what I have here is what's the remnants of a pound of ground turkey and mild Italian sausage. I love turkey and I really do love it, but it's like, what am I going to do to take it up a notch? So I thought, well, I'll add some sausage, and that really did take it up a notch. I added my trusty Lipton beef onion mix. And I added 1 egg and some Italian breadcrumbs. And so I mixed all of that together. And then what I did was I put in my cheese. Okay. So I just washed my hands, and so I've turned my skillet back on. So I'm going to wet my hands now, because by wetting them, it makes it easier for me to make the meatballs. Okay. So I've turned the skillet back up. So let's hope that that will get warm quickly. In my skillet, I have about 2 tablespoons of oil, but I just took out the other meatballs that I put in the oven. So you've got a little bit of the remnants of the oil from that. So let me just wet my hands. Thank you. Wet hands. And I'm dashing it into the skillet to see if it's going to start making a noise. It didn't. So it's heating up. So what I do is I just grab some meat and I stick my cheese in there. And I need just a tad more. And you can make the meatballs the size that you would like for them to be. Mine are probably a little too big for considering what I'm going to be able to consume. But I make them bigger because I may not always want to eat them as a sandwich. You know, I may want to add some rice, or I may just want to eat it with vegetables. So therefore, I want to make sure that I actually have quite a bit of protein there. So you see, by me having wet my hands, and my skillet is getting warm now, that the meat is not sticking. So we're doing this. And what I'm doing is, I just want to sear off the meatballs. You could just cook them completely in the skillet, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted them to cook in the oven. So what I decided to do was just to sear them. And then I put them in the oven at 400. I think they cook about 20 to 25 minutes, depending upon the size of them and just how your oven cooks. And you see here where I keep reaching back in to grab a little meat, because I want to make sure that my cheese is covered. And so this is really quick, and it's really good. Sometimes, you know, you just don't know. And I was actually wanting to do meatballs, but it's like, okay, now how do I take them up a notch? And I was walking through the grocery store and I saw the Italian sausage, and I thought, well, yeah, Italian sausage. Hi, Khalid, for joining me. Thank you. Since I've got my hands in the meat, I can't wave at you, but thank you for joining me. I hope you guys are having a great day. So I've got 4 balls already in there. And once I get the other 3 that I have cheese for, in the skillet. Then I will turn the meatballs so that I can sear them on. I usually just do 2 sides. You know, I could try to sear it all over, but if I'm going to sear it all over, then I might as well just cook them in the skillet. So I just do, you know, one side, then I flip it and do the other side. Hi, honey. He said, hey. You know, if you're with me and you come in the view of the camera, just be prepared for me to say something to you. Okay, this is my last one, and of course, once I get it into a ball, this is going to be a big ball. I can see that already. I've got to wash my hands because I won't be able to manipulate my tongue without my hands being washed. So give me just a second. They say cleanliness is next to godliness, and trying to get the mixture off my hand. So we're going to move this bowl, and we're going to turn the meatballs. You can see them beginning to sear up very nicely. So I'm going to flip them on another side. If they get a little brown, that's okay. That is just fine. Because as I stated, I'm going to cook these off in the oven. So that will be fine. I was trying to figure out what toppings I was going to put on these meatballs. What do you guys like on your meatballs? Do you like meatball subs? Because I'm going to actually put this in a hot dog bun. Not a hoagie sub, but a hot dog bun. Hi, Camille. Hi. So we're just searing off the meatballs. Let me hold this up so you can see what they're beginning to look like. Ooh, you see the grease popping too. Isn't that fun? Now someone said, well, do you actually put salt and pepper? Yes. Then they wanted to know, if you're using the soup mix, why did you add garlic? Because I use Lipton soup mix a lot. Why do you add garlic and other spices? Well, when I'm using ground turkey, it takes a lot to give ground turkey flavor because it's very lean, and so it doesn't have a lot of flavor on its own. So even though the beef soup mix, it almost gives it a beefy, like hamburger flavor, but it also, that's just one piece of it. And with me having had gastric sleeve surgery, I still need something else to take it up a notch. And so, just because I have the soup mix in there, I still have to have other items. Because I definitely want my food to be tasty. So these are searing off very nicely. You could also do these on the grill. You do them on the grill also. I'm going to put them in a casserole dish that I will then put in the oven because I seared them off. And then they'll finish cooking. And we've got some that should be ready in a few minutes or so. Have you ever heard the saying that your eyes are too big for your stomach? Well, when I was trying to determine what I was going to eat with my meatballs, I wanted everything. I wanted absolutely everything. And I began to realize, and I'll let you see what these look like. Hi, it's Nina. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing your name. Thank you for joining me. And so these are what my turkey Italian meatballs look like. They have the surprise in the center because we've got cheese. And so I was trying to figure out now, what are you gonna have with your meatball? And I wanted everything. So I'm gonna show you what my options are for topping my meatball once I bring it out the oven. So I had some red peppers and orange and yellow peppers. I was like, okay, maybe I want that. Then I was like, well, do I want mushrooms? So I have just a few. You may say, why do you have just a few? Because I'm going to show you what I really eat and how I really eat today. So I had a few mushrooms here. And then I wanted jalapeno. Oh, I just realized I've got to go back to the refrigerator. Oh, I just can't seem to bring everything out today. These are jalapeno. So I was like, oh, maybe I want a jalapeno, but I only got a few here because I won't need to eat all those. And then my dad had made some, we call it red coleslaw. I don't know what the real name is for it, and I don't even know what he puts in it. So he had made coleslaw, and so I had some of his coleslaw. So I'm like, well, I might want some coleslaw. I don't know what I want. So I'm like, I'm just going to take a little bit of what I could potentially have and put it in a little dish. And then when it's time to eat, we'll see which way I'm leaning. Whether I'm going to go coleslaw and maybe mustard, or am I gonna go mayo and mushrooms and green peppers and jalapeno? Who knows? Let me get out my condiments, because while I make this decision, I would like to have some mayo or mustard. Give me one moment. The refrigerator's calling me again. It's calling me. It's calling me. The fridge is calling me. Someone asked me, so do you use mayo and things like that? And yeah, I do. You know, mustard has always been a good condiment to use. I like mustard sometimes. Sometimes I don't. But I use light mayo. I use light mayo. Because I can have mayonnaise. It's just that I can have more of it if it's light, and so I use light. I got a question, do you use butter or do you use margarine? Well, normally I use light margarine, but when I do use butter, I can only have like, and I'm going to tell a fib, I think it's like a teaspoon a day, but if I had light margarine, I could have a tablespoon. But if you think about it, unless you're eating something where you're putting that on there, you probably wouldn't really consume that much anyway. So, you know, there are times that I do a recipe and it would be better if I put butter. So I put butter in there because when I eat small portions. So I'm not going to eat that much of it to begin with. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to take my trusty glove. I think our meatballs are about ready. I hear my timer making noise, so we're gonna swap out meatballs. Ooh, oh, my surprise is not gonna be a surprise. My surprise is not a surprise. We see the cheese is bubbling out. Now I've got to put this timer back on so that I won't forget this batch. So we're gonna set the timer for 20 minutes, okay? Hi, Absalom. Thank you for joining me. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name. Okay, so we're going to show you these meatballs again. Okay, so we see the cheese has just come out of it, and they look great. So what I'm going to do is, I got my trusty little plate today. I'm going to show you the meatball. You see I seared. It was no rhyme or reason to how I seared them. And I'll just show you one that's seared a little bit darker. And that gives them a chance to cool down a little bit because I'm going to show you how I eat. So that's a little darker to me. It may not be very much darker. Very much darker. It may not be darker. Okay, so when I did my test run yesterday, because sometimes I don't do a test run. I cook by instinct. But yesterday I said, let me do a test run to see how these taste. So I wanted to eat this on a hot dog bun, not a hoagie bun, because I don't eat a lot of bread. And for me, I have to have protein first. I have to have protein to live. And we all need protein to live. Protein is so important for our body's functioning, our cells regenerating. And if you've been sick or you've had some type of surgery, protein helps you to heal faster. So I was like, okay, you know you can't eat much bread. So I had one meatball and I cut it in half. And so I just broke the bun in half. So what I'm going to do now is I think, oh, sorry, Daddy. Sorry, Daddy. I want the mayo. I should kind of make it almost a Carolina classic, but I want the mayo. So I'm gonna put a little mayo. I don't measure it out because I'm not getting that much, and I know that. So just like you guys would do, I'm gonna put a little on both sides of this half of a hot dog bun. And I want my jalapeno. So we definitely having that. So we move that out the way. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut into our meatball so we can see the surprise, which we know it's not a surprise because we know it's there. Ooh, it's bubbling. Ooh, this is hot. Ooh, this is going to be good because they are good. Let me cut both of them and hopefully you'll be able to see the cheese on the inside. I'm just tearing that one apart. Isn't that awful? Let you see. Let you see that cheese on the inside? And you see that steam rising? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. And so we got the steam rising. He said I pronounced it correctly. Thank you. So we got the steam rising. Well, because I'm only going to eat this much, I'm going to take the meatball. I've already got it in half. And if you look at it, you're going to say, what? See how much that is? What? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat the whole meatball. So I'm going to take the other half of it. Wee. Now I'm saying wee. Like the little piggy. Wee. So I've got my little meatball stuffed in there. So that's one meatball for me. And I'm gonna put the small slice of a pepper in there. Don't fall out. And because this is for me, I'm just grabbing it with my fingers. I'm gonna put one little mushroom there. I think I can get another mushroom in there. That's a vegetable. I'm trying to get my veggies in too. The way I eat my protein normally, and then I go and I eat my vegetable. Because typically I don't have carbs, but we all need carbs. We just have to be very careful about the amount that we ingest. So now I'm going to put the jalapenos. Whee! You may say, isn't it hot enough with the habanero cheese? Well, no, not if I don't happen to have a pepper in there. It won't be. Okay, so I've got 3 in here. Okay. They say now for the big reveal. Here we go. It's just as good as it was yesterday. And because the Italian sausage is so powerful, meaning that it's full of spices, when you bite into this, you would never know that there was ground turkey in here. But believe you me, there's ground turkey. Because I started with a pound of ground turkey, and then I added the pound of, hi Stealth C92. And then I started with the pound of mild Italian sausage. And this was just wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I'll tell you a secret. Someone tried one yesterday, and I don't know what they think that I'm cooking. I think they think that I'm always cooking diet food, and I keep telling them it's not diet food. We're transforming the food. It's meatballs. A lot of people love meatballs. I like meatballs, but we don't always have to have them the same way. I use ground turkey. This meatball is just as good, if not better, to me anyway, than traditional meatballs. And so the person tried, well, they had two. And they were like, as they say, we say in the South, I don't know if you guys know this phrase, you put your foot in it. They were like, this is good. I'm like, I keep telling you, it's good. It's not diet. Because who can stay on a diet forever? Nobody can. But we can change how we eat our food. And that's what I'm doing. I'm transforming food that we really love, and I'm changing it to a healthier version of itself. So I'm going to have meatballs, a healthier version. I've got my vegetables because I've got peppers, just like you would have on a meatball sub. I've got peppers, I've got mushrooms. You know, I could have used my dad's coleslaw, which I probably will eat some with a coleslaw another day. Again, it's just a new way of eating, and it's a way of thinking about life. No one wants to be restricted in what they can have, particularly food. But we can change how we see food and understand what it does for our body. They say milk does the body good, food does the body good, and protein-packed food really does the body good. So I'm going to be finishing this off, and I normally, I would, not be talking while I'm eating, but I'm going to finish this. This is my half of meatball. Because this is good. And I don't want my cheese to get cold on me. So, you've been with Taz in the kitchen today. I've made my turkey meatballs with Italian sausage. They're succulent. These are going to rest now. So when you bite into them, once they've had an opportunity to rest, they need to rest probably about 2 or 3 minutes. All you're going to get is that wonderful juices and that cheese just gushing everywhere. And that's what makes it so succulent. So I will be posting the recipe on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys for joining me. And if you tried this recipe, please let me know how yours turned out. Again, this has been Taz in the Kitchen. We've made some succulent, juicy Lucy turkey meatballs with Italian sausage today. Until next time, take care of you. Bye now.